Welcome to Windows 10 Crash Course. This video can be used as a learning material. It can also be used as a refresher for IT professionals. If you appreciate this information, please share it with friends and family. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. How to change password in Windows 10. On your left hand side, right next to the Start button, click inside the search box and type in Manage Account. The first thing that should come up on top of your search should be Manage Your Account System Settings. Go ahead and select that, or simply hit Enter on your keyboard. Once we are at this window, we can see the name of our account and which type it is. On your left hand side, select Sign In options. If you scroll down a little bit, you will see a menu called Password and a box named Change. Go ahead and select that button. Click Change. Here we need to type in our current password. Go ahead and select Next on the bottom. And this window is where we change our password. I would suggest using a combination of letters and numbers. Go ahead and type in your new password once. In the below box, type in the same password again. And in the third and final box, you can type in hint for your password. After you're finished, select Next. In my case, I'm going to cancel out because I don't want to change my password at the moment. How to add a new login account in Windows 10. This is usually done. You share your computer with another person. Right next to your Start button, on the left hand side, click inside the search box and type in Add Account. As a search result, on top, first thing should be Add, Edit, or Remove Other People System Settings. Go ahead and select that with your mouse or simply hit Enter on your keyboard. If you'd like to add another person, scroll down a little bit and select Add Someone Else to this PC under Other People tab. Go ahead and click that. In the next window, you have two options. You can use your Microsoft email as a login, whether it's from Outlook.com, MSN.com, or anything else that might be related as listed here. However, I like to create accounts, which does not require internet connection to work. Underneath the email box, there's an option that says I don't have this person's sign-in information, sort of towards the bottom here. Go ahead and select that. Here will give you an option to create a Microsoft account. Again, this requires internet connection to work properly. However, as stated previously, I like to create local user accounts. As you can see on the bottom here, it gives you an option to select add a user without a Microsoft account. Go ahead and select that. Otherwise, fill out this information. Here, you will give it an option to create a username for this person's account. Let's say this person's name is Larry. Type in Larry in the first box. In the second box, type in the password of your choosing. Make sure, well, I should say it's recommended to use a combination of letters and numbers. Once you type in your password twice, you can type in the hint for your password. For example, hint. Once you fill this out, go ahead and click Next. And there you have it. Once you log out of this computer by selecting the search box on the left side, select the little person icon, and then you select Sign Out. Now you can select Larry, or you can use his password to log in. How to change the screensaver in Windows 10. On your left hand side, right next to the Start button, click inside the search box and type in Themes. The top result should be Themes and Related Settings. Go ahead and select that, or simply hit Enter on your keyboard. Once you're there, on your left hand side, about halfway down, look for an option that says Lock Screen. Go ahead and select Lock Screen on the left side. In this window, on the right hand side, we need to scroll down until we come across an option that is called Screensaver Settings. Go ahead and select Screensaver Settings. This brings you to a familiar pop-up from previous versions of Windows, and then here you can change your settings accordingly. Personally, I prefer a blank screensaver and 5-minute wait time. How to change your account name in Windows 10, also known as your login name. On your left hand side, right next to the Start button, click inside the search box and type in Control Panel. The top result in your search should be Control Panel Desktop App. Go ahead and select that, or simply hit Enter on your keyboard. On your right hand side, you should see a top option called User Accounts. Go ahead and select User Accounts. Similarly to the previous window, we have another option in User Accounts once more. As previously, we need to select User Accounts. Select User Accounts. Here, you will have an option in the middle called Change Your Account Name. For this to work, you need to have administrator privileges, as you may notice here on the right-hand side for my current login account. If you do have administrator privileges, go ahead and select Change Your Account option. Here, we can type in new account name. Once you're happy and satisfied with the new name, go ahead and select Change Name box on your right-hand side. Since I'm not going to change my name, I'm going to click Cancel. How to create a restore point and enable system protection in Windows 10. Next to your start bar, in the search box, type in Restore. First thing that comes up on the very top will be Create a Restore Point application. Go ahead and select that, or simply hit Enter on your keyboard. First, we need to enable system protection in order to create a restore point. Select the Configure box. Here we need to select Turn on System Protection. Underneath where it says Disk Space Usage, go ahead and allocate the amount of space you want to use for your system restore and backup. Once you're satisfied, go ahead and click Apply and OK. Now we can create a restore point. Go ahead and click the Create button. Name it whatever you like. Select Create. After a few seconds, your first restore point will be created, after which, if your computer crashes or you lose some data, you will have a backup of your file system. Hello my friends, my name is Irvin, also known as cobuman. Today I'm going to talk about one of the most overlooked and awesome features of Google Chrome that a lot of people may not be aware of, right? And what I'm talking about is specifically being able to create personal desktop icons for websites that you normally visit. So while I'm downloading Google Chrome here, actually let me get it going and installing here real quick. And then once we get to the desktop, I'll show you exactly what I mean and how awesome this feature is. There was just a pop-up for Chrome asking me whether I want to install it. See all these icons that I have, for example, for Audacity, Control Panel, Firefox, OpenOffice, and Skype. Well, guess what? You can create these same type of icons for each website that you use. For example, let's say you go to your favorite email provider. Let's say you go to Gmail. You can create that specific shortcut to that Gmail account without you having to open up your browser each time. Go to your bookmark or even type it in Google and clicking Gmail and this and that. You can create an icon that would simply state here, it would just say Gmail, right? So that's really awesome and handy because you can have a list of different icons on your desktop for all the things that you use the most while you're browsing the internet. And of course, I find that very useful because I have so many things that I access on a daily basis, whether it's multiple email providers, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, whether it's, of course, my YouTube channel, whether it's anything else that I access, which are so many things that at this point I can't even remember entirely. And the reason I didn't have Chrome installed on this computer is because this is a laptop that I mainly use on the go, and it's not very powerful, to be honest, and Google Chrome tends to be resource intensive. So for this demonstration, I will go ahead and obviously, well, you can see that I'm installing it right now just so I can demonstrate this to you. But that's the only reason I don't have Google Chrome already installed. But either way, this is a good way to kind of see Google Chrome installation as this video, I suppose, right? It's almost done here, and once it's done, we'll go ahead and go and visit Facebook first, and maybe a couple other ones, and then we'll create these awesome desktop icons that will make this easy. Again, especially if you're logging into random websites that you need to access, whether it's some kind of a, like I said, email, whether it's some kind of a business account, PayPal or whatever. You can create these shortcuts onto there instantly. Of course, you have to have cookies enabled in order to have automatic sign-in into your accounts. Otherwise, you will have to log in into each one of them. Only set up, and oh man, it makes your life so much easier, especially if you're visiting a lot of different stuff. It's almost done here, and you can see how my computer is, this laptop I should say, and it's not incredibly fast. And okay, well, we got it installed, so let me just go visit, well, I was going to type in facebook.com, and once we get there, I will create this awesome icon that we need. Okay, so here we are. This is the facebook.com, obviously. On the right hand side, towards the top of these three dots, sort of like a column dots, right next to your little star for a bookmark, we're going to head and just click these three dots. Then we're going to go to More Tools, and then we're going to select Add to Desktop. Okay, and then you can select that. This is another feature that I really like. You can select it so it opens up as a window. So you will have a separate session of this, if you will. And it's kind of neat because you won't have anything else around here once you open it. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and close it here. Here's your Facebook icon, right? So once I double click it, it's going to open it up as its own window, which is really, really awesome. I really like this. Oh boy, it's so slow. Now you see, this just kind of goes to show. But see, if you already logged in and you have cookies enabled, this and that, you will be directly logged into Facebook at this point. So next time you can just click this icon and it will take you to Facebook directly. Let's try something else. Let's try an email provider. Okay, come on now. All right, let's go to Yahoo since I had it typed in earlier. Yahoo. And here we go. I'm going to click Mail. And I'm going to do the same thing. The three dots on the right-hand side. Go all the way down to More Tools. And then select Add to Desktop. Okay. See, now we have our Yahoo login. Now let's do that with Google. Gmail. Let's do Gmail. Okay. Go to three dots, More Tools, Add to Desktop. And now let's go to YouTube. When we go to the YouTube, we can do the same thing. Click on the three dots, go to More Tools, and select Add to Desktop. Once we move this here, we double click YouTube and it will take us to our YouTube. But then again, I mean, I do realize this is essentially creating shortcuts, which you can certainly do by right clicking on your desktop select new, create shortcut, type in HTTP or S, whatever's more convenient for you, youtube.com, select next, call it YouTube. As you can see, there's just more work, and it will just give you a shortcut called YouTube, and then you get into this thing where it just thinks it's a regular internet shortcut, while with these type of icons you can literally specify for it to go directly to where you need it, wherever you logged in, where you left off. I find this incredibly useful, and I hope you guys do too. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you like my videos, please subscribe. I will have more videos in the future. And thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye. How to disable Cortana in Windows 10. If you're like me, you'd prefer this feature disabled. On your left-hand side, select the Start button. Select inside the search box. On the left-hand side, you will see Settings button. It will look like a cog. Go ahead and select it. Here, the first option will let us toggle Cortana on and off. Right now, she's turned on. If you select it, it will turn her off. While you're at it, you can go ahead and disable other features, like use Cortana even when my device is locked. Taskbar tidbits. Scroll down. My device history. You can disable that. If you'd like to disable user controls in Windows 10, you can certainly do so, and I will show you how. Keep in mind that little pop-up you get every time you try to install a program, or whenever a program tries to make changes on your computer, serves as a safety feature. But I will show you how to turn it off. On your left-hand side, next to the Start button, click inside the search box and type in user account. First thing that comes up on top will be called Change User Account Control Settings. Go ahead and select that or press Enter. We can see the current level that it's set to. Currently, it notifies me only when apps try to make changes to my computer as default. If you'd like to turn it off, move the slider on the left-hand side all the way to the bottom. However, as you can see, this is not recommended. So if you feel that the pop-up is annoyance, you can certainly turn it off. Once you scroll down, go ahead and select OK. And of course, you would get that pop-up again. You may have not seen it in my recorded video, but that's how you turn it off. Let me go back here again. User account. And now when I click OK, it won't do anything. How to hide the taskbar in Windows 10. If you hover over your taskbar, you can go ahead and right-click it and select the taskbar settings. Within here, we can select the option that says automatically hide the taskbar in tablet mode and also automatically hide the taskbar. Right next, click inside the search box and type in add or remove. The first thing that should come up on your very top of results should be add remove programs. You can either select it or simply hit enter. In this window, if we scroll down, you can see different list of programs that are installed on a computer. Let's go ahead and remove this program called Bubble Witch 3 Saga, which comes installed with Windows 10. Once you select it, it will expand a little bit and you will have an option to click uninstall as long as you have administrator privileges. If you select the advanced options button, you will get a little bit more details about the app, similar to your phone. You can reset data and such. But let's go back since we want to uninstall it. Go ahead and click the back arrow. Scroll down again. Find your program. Select uninstall. And then uninstall once more. And there you have it. Your computer has now removed the selected program. How to restore desktop icons in Windows 10. On your left hand side, right next to the Start button here, click inside the search box and type in Theme. The first thing that will come up as a result will be Themes and Related Settings. Go ahead and select that or simply hit Enter. Once this box shows up, on the right hand side, we need to scroll down and look for a menu called Related Settings. Underneath it will be a link called Desktop Icon Settings, as so. Go ahead and select that. Here we can select the desktop icons that we want to appear. Personally, I like Computer, User Files, Network, Recycle Bin, and Control Panel. Go ahead and select Apply. Now you have your desktop icons.
Hello my friends, my name is Irvin, also known as cobuman. Let's go ahead and rotate our screen. You have to be logged into Windows to use this. On your keyboard, use Control, Alt, you have to hold them, and then arrow keys on your keyboard. So if we do Control, Alt, left arrow key, it's going to rotate to the left. If we do Control, Alt, right arrow key, it's going to rotate our screen to the right. Okay, same thing if we do Control, Alt, up. It's going to basically bring it back to normal position. If we do Control Alt down, it's going to flip it upside down. And one thing to keep in mind, you can always do Control Alt up to bring it back to your normal position in case you mess up. Here's a top view of this. So Control Alt left, right, up, or down. There you go. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Welcome my friends, my name is Irvin, also known as cobuman. In today's video I wanted to talk about one of the questions that I have in my article that is called Top 10 Hard Desktop Support Interview Questions and Answers. And in this video I want to go into more of a detailed and demonstration on the answer itself. So let's go ahead and look at question number 2 that is within this article, and the question is: a user has transferred to another department within the company, and their local profile is missing many files and desktop icons. What do you think the issue could be? So my answer is basically in a format where you think out loud and you explain your steps on how you troubleshoot computer issues, and basically is a good way for interviewer to understand that you do know how to troubleshoot various computer issues. So I explain it in first, second, third, and last format. So it's first, second, third, And lastly, which makes my format to answer this question 4 parts. So let's go to look at the first. I would ask the user if they move to another computer, which could mean that their files are stored at another machine. Right, so if somebody literally switches computers, of course, that new computer is not going to have those files that are stored at the other machine. It could also mean that the new computer does not have the same software installed, and icons for those would not be present. So if the new computer does not have the same program, of course, it's not going to have those icons. So let's have a look at an example of how that looks like. Here's a brand new login or brand new local profile created for this computer. And if I go inside my downloads, for example, it will be empty because it's a new computer. If I go inside of documents, it's going to be empty because I moved to a new computer. If I go to, it's going to be empty because I moved to another computer. And this is just a shortcut to Microsoft Edge. What I'm talking about, missing files. So it's going to miss all those files that you created on the desktop. So let's say, let me show you here what I mean. So if I go here and create a, just a new file, it's going to show up on their desktop. So that's considered, new file. This here is just a shortcut to the file. So, of course, you move to another computer. You haven't transferred any of your files. You haven't, moved them to another computer. Of course, it's going to be empty. So that's why I explained it in such a way. Second thing is, let's say you missing icons for the computer. Of course, you're just going to have whatever's installed on this computer. This computer just happens to have Audacity, Google Chrome, OBS Studio, OpenOffice, and etc. But if you happen to have, Microsoft Office and you had a shortcut to Outlook, to Excel, to anything else on your desktop, of course it's not going to be there because this computer doesn't have that installed. Okay, now let's go to the second part of that answer. Okay, and second here it says, if user has not moved to another machine, I would check the Active Directory if any GPO or domain profile restrictions for users' new department are affecting the ability to create, view, or edit files. So let's have a look what I mean. If someone has been moved within Active Directory or their domain, chances are that their permissions to view, edit, or modify files have been changed, which could reflect on the way things look like on their computer. So if somebody moved to another department and that department has new restrictions in place where it doesn't allow them to view a lot of things which can be modified. For example, you would go in here and look at this PC, or previously known as my computer in Windows 7. Chances are they may not even be able to see this. They may not even be able to see local C, let alone any files that are within the hard drive, right? Because changes on the domain level or within Active Directory have suddenly, are suddenly preventing you or the new user to access, view, or edit any of these files. This sometimes happens. Some departments have more restrictions on their users or on their associates. They don't want them to do certain things. They don't want them to view certain things. So suddenly they got migrated to the new where they have more restrictions. This has replicated, and chances are whenever they go in here, they won't be able to see any of this. So, by the way, one way, if you can't see local C drives or any of these drives listed here, you can just simply type in C. A lot of times that. So, let's go ahead and have a look at our third part of this answer. User may have received a new domain login which inherently does not have access to previously used local profile which has the old login ID attached to it. So if somebody, moves to a new department and they decide to tell them, okay, now you're going to use this login. When they log in, it would be just like this. They log in and it would be just like this. Their new profile, This is their new profile that they got. Their new login is their new profile, right? And it will be empty. It will be empty just like this. So what is the reason for that? It's because their old profile has all the stuff. So let's look at root of C again and our users folder. Once we go inside of here, let's say, and this is the fact now, I am using this one, right? YT login. That's my login ID right now. If I previously used this one, everything that's inside of that, it's going to... So now I'm suddenly using this one. Of course, it's going to be empty. So in order to restore that, obviously, you will go back inside of this, go into the, if you have the permissions, obviously, go inside and, copy paste all the data that's within their documents and everything else on their desktop and just restore it back here, into their new login. And that's the reason for that. Anytime you change login ID, it's going to, create everything brand new, and all the old stuff is going to be located on the old profile, which you can transfer back. Okay, now let's have a look at my last thing that I would say as an answer to this question during an interview. Lastly, if any of the situations described apply, I would act accordingly to resolve the issue. If user files are located somewhere else and if permitted by the company policy, very important, I would transfer them back to the user. Same goes for any missing software. So what I'm saying here is that if it's a common practice for their company to create backups, I would restore all of their documents to them, and I would also transfer all the software that they used to have to the new computer if they happen to move to a new computer. Of course, this is all, depending on the company's policy. Their manager at the new department may say, nope, they don't need this. So, of course, you would double check that to make sure that that is allowed as well. So this is a very fun thing to think about, because this happens a lot in desktop support where suddenly everything's missing and they don't know what happened because users don't know. And, sometimes they'll panic and they would go and they're like, oh, I'm missing everything. Everything's missing. And sure enough, you go in, desktop is pretty much empty. Documents are empty. Everything's empty, but they don't know what happened. So hopefully you help them, or you've been notified ahead of time. So if you're a local desktop support, hopefully you've been notified ahead of time that this person is moving to another department, and then you can help them, by creating, a backup of their local profile, or simply moving it from one computer to another, which you can simply do over the network. You can just simply go through the back door and just type in // 2 backslashes, name of the computer, name of the computer where they used to sit, and just type in C and $. This should be able to access their old computer. And once you do that, basically it will just, it will basically get you into the root of C like this. It would just say the name of the computer there rather than just C. And then it would say name of the computer with C, /C, and then in here you can just go, what is their old profile, and then you find it, and then usually what I do is, I go like this, desktop, documents. I would highlight all of this, usually their favorites. Then I would copy, and then access his or her computer remotely that they're using currently. Go back here, find their new profile, whatever that may be, add the other computer, and then just paste it. Usually it didn't like that because I did it on the same login, but if I go into and find another login, it would simply just update the profile or the folders that are there. It's not going to create duplicates. That only did that because I did it on the same local profile. Trust me, I've done this hundreds and hundreds of times. All right, guys, I hope you find this video helpful in your help desk, desktop support, or whatever it is that you're doing, right? So let me know if you have any questions. I'm here for you to help you out. So don't be shy. I'll help you with any questions that you may have. And let me know if you like this type of stuff. Smash the like button. Tell your friends about me. If you like this type of stuff, they might like it too. Thank you so much, and have a good day. Hello my friends, my name is Irvin, also known as cobuman. This video is specifically designed for those looking to get a job or a better job. Also serves as a motivational video to those who are not so inclined to do so. Of course, this video will be to the point, factual, realistic, so there will be no sugarcoating. Keep that in mind. So, I have a simple question to ask you. Are you happy with your current job? If you don't have a job, of course you are not happy with the job because you're not employed right now. This is something you need to rectify. This is a decision you need to make, and you cannot make any excuses about it. And if you are currently employed, you may not be happy with your current job, whether it's really related to income or just the people that you work with, then you're definitely in the right place and you need to get a new job. So everything you do from now on will require effort. Everything you do from now on will require effort. Everything you do from now on will require effort. The reason I said that 3 times because it's incredibly important, and it starts with your resume. One of the main things that we tell ourselves, oh, I don't feel like updating my resume. It's going to be really hard to update my resume. Who cares? If you really want that job, you're going to make this effort, or you're going to make it in such a way that you're going to tailor that resume to each job that you're applying for specifically. So what do I mean by that? Let's say you find a job and you look at the description and you see that you can do this job. Well, all you got to do is put forward your experience that is specifically related to this job first so that the employer can see that. This will increase your chances drastically, and it doesn't take a long time at all. This is something that you simply have to do if you truly want that new job. Do you really want to make more money? Do you want to not deal with your horrible boss anymore? You're going to make this small effort and edit your resume. So you've updated your resume, you found a couple of different jobs that you seem to be interested in, you've applied for them, you even went as far as to create a cover letter for each to increase your chance. So what are your chances? That's a very good question, because think about it. You've only applied for 2 jobs, so the honest answer is very low. Your chances are very low. Your chances are very low. Again, I emphasize this 3 times because this is just the reality of the world. Just because you feel, and we do feel a lot, that we are going to get that job, especially when we read that description and it's exactly something that we can do 100%, our chances are actually still low. So how do we change that? Well, we apply to more than 2 jobs. We apply to 10, 15, 20, even more jobs. So I gotta ask you, are you afraid to fail? Are you afraid to fail? This is something so common that everybody can relate to. Nobody wants to put our chances on the line, especially true when it comes to interviewing for new jobs, putting ourselves out there and kind of exposing ourselves to what we are worth. And we are afraid that we will fail because people will judge us, and based off that will not give us that opportunity to prove ourselves. This is one of the biggest issues people have in not applying for new jobs. They're stuck at their old jobs, just kind of demolished and depressed, feeling from not making enough money to being tortured by bosses, by coworkers. You owe it to yourself to get over the fear and make way more effort for you, for yourself, You owe it to yourself. You have the responsibility towards you and towards people around you to place your best foot forward, as they say, and make the most effort in order to succeed. It's okay to be afraid. We are all afraid. Even person leading the interview may be afraid as well. And this is normal. It's normal to be afraid. It's our instinct. So what am I trying to tell you here is that you will fail a lot, but that's okay. You will learn from your failures. You will think about those failed interviews over and over in your head, and you will figure out eventually what went wrong. And yes, a lot of those mistakes will be due to the fact that you're too anxious, too nervous, too afraid to remember the correct answers that you may be asked. That's okay. Now you know how to deal with this, and over time you will just, I don't want to say the fear will disappear entirely, but it will be so minimized that you won't even notice it, especially if you go through, more than one interview. This will further increase your chances of getting that awesome job, and I highly encourage you to stay at it and never ever give up. Thank you so much for watching. Please share this video with friends, like it, or leave a comment. I'll be glad to answer any questions. And if you need help with the resume, I have a video on that as well. There will be a link after this video, so look for it there. Thank you so much again, and I wish you best of luck.
Hello my friends, my name is Irvin, also known as cobuman. Today we're talking about Outlook. Troubleshooting Outlook and some things we need to look at, especially if you're getting certain connection errors like so, right? These are some of the connection errors that you may receive when you use Outlook. And I'll explain to you how these can come about and the things you need to look at when it comes to connection issues within your Outlook. So let me go ahead and close this here. And in order for us to troubleshoot properly, we have to close Outlook and look at the certain settings that are within Outlook without actually having Outlook open. Because here's the thing, some things cannot be changed from within Outlook, for example, Exchange or email Exchange server settings. So let's say, for example, you have an Outlook and the first thing you get, it says cannot connect to the Exchange server. So what is Exchange server, right? Exchange server is an email server, right? So for those who are new to Outlook and want to learn more about this, whenever I say Exchange server, it means it's an email server that basically this is where your email account is, and this is where every time you log into your account through Outlook, all of your inbox data or emails, right? You can call them just emails, are located inside of Exchange server, right? So I like to explain things in a totally different way than most of other guys that are on YouTube or maybe even some other, educational platforms, because I think that it's important to explain things in such manner that it's easy to understand, right? So moving on, now we know what Exchange server is, and we know that Exchange server has our inbox, has our emails, and if we can't connect to it, then obviously we can't use this email, nor can we access any of data that's on there, right? So let's have a look. Let's say you have Outlook and you cannot connect to it. The first thing that we need to do when it comes to troubleshooting is obviously close Outlook and then access Outlook settings through Control Panel. So while you're inside a Control Panel, by the way, first time you open up Control Panel, whether it's in Windows 7 or 10 or 8, this is how it's going to look like by default. It's gonna be sorted and viewed by category. I personally like to change this immediately, and I usually go for small icons, but large icons will give you the same icons, it's just a little bit larger. So what I'm looking for is actually an icon that's called Mail within Control Panel. What this does, whenever I click on it, which is what I just did, it opens up our mail setup for Outlook. If you don't have Outlook installed, or Microsoft Office, if you will, Outlook comes, icon will not be present inside of control panel. But here we are at the right place. Now, when it comes to troubleshooting, server connection, in our case, Exchange server connections, we have to look at our email account settings, which is the very first thing we have here. So that makes it pretty easy. And I'll actually go back down here to kind of show you what these other things are as well. So let's look at email accounts. So right now I have set up what is basically called IMAP /SMTP server settings for a Gmail account that I'm using. But nonetheless, this is how it will look like in a business environment. You would have your email address here, and it would tell you what type of account you have set up. Now, let me show you. This is exactly what happens when a user logs into the computer for the first time and they've never opened up Outlook ever, right? This is the first thing they will get right here. So if someone logs into a computer for the first time ever and they try to open up Outlook, they go in here and they find Outlook, right? There's Outlook, and then you click on it. This is the first thing that will show up because an account has never been configured previously. Typically, in a domain type of environment, so business environment, right? Your Exchange server settings, so your email settings for your domain account will be attached to itself, right? So that means that your domain login, so login for your computer, whenever you log into your computer, you see how I'm logged in right now, right? So if I sign out, right here, sign out, and then I log in with a different login, and it happens to be a domain login, it will have my email account information attached to it. So when I open up Outlook for the first time, this will automatically populate, of course, if set up correctly, but this is usually what happens. This will automatically populate, and it would be, as in an example below, it would say something like this. For example, Alan Adams, this whole thing would be filled out. Alan at Contasso.com, and it would fill out your password automatically because it uses your login information to fill this out, and that way it automatically connects to the Exchange server, right? So once this is filled out, it will basically do it on, most of the time we'll do it on its own, and then you simply click next, and then it would go through this, and it's not going to connect now, obviously, but it would connect, and it would do its thing, and then you would simply click finish, and then you would get to your inbox. It will look just like this. Once we're done with that, you open up Outlook, and it will look like this. Similar like this. It wouldn't have Gmail, but it would have inbox, and you'd have your emails in there and whatnot, right? So that's how it would look like the first time you log in to Outlook, right? And this one is broken, the Gmail connection. So and I left that like that on purpose so that we can have a look. Okay, so let me close this here. Okay, now if you are in a type of business environment where you have to set up things manually, some businesses, especially smaller businesses, even though they have a domain login for the user, they may not necessarily have Exchange server set up in such manner where it would populate these things automatically. This is usually the case with older operating systems like Windows XP. I remember doing this back in the day. For every time somebody launched Outlook and they used Windows XP, I had to do it manually. I had to configure manual setup for the server types and this and that, right? So here's our options. If we select manual here, and then go, click next. It gives us, a few options. The first thing is Microsoft Exchange Server or a compatible device. So we already know what the Exchange Server is, right? So we want to connect to it because this is a business environment. We want to connect to it. If we click next here, we would manually type in the name of the server. For example, it would be email server at, I don't know, let's say outlook.com, right? Let's just say that that's the case, right? And if you click check name, it would find it and it would fill this out. And once it finds it, you would usually, replace this in a domain profile format. So whatever you have for your domain, it would replace it, and it would know automatically that you are part of this email server, or basically that you do have access to this email server. And after that, you can simply click next, and it would connect to it. Obviously, we can't do it because I'm not recording this at my work, right? That would be pretty bad if I actually did. So anyways, I'm going to click OK here, and I'm going to cancel. But this is what would happen. So if you're having, okay, this one's being annoying, so I'm just going to leave it there for now. So if you're having email Exchange Server connection errors, this is where you would look if you are doing it manually, right? Chances are, if you are doing it manually, that this is where your mistake would be, right? But if you're doing it automatically, and then if it populates everything automatically for you, then you don't have to worry about it, because your domain login will have all this information attached to it. So you don't. So there's a high chance that that's not the issue. But when it comes to having a Exchange Server connection issue, this is where you would check if you are configured manually, right? However, if you're still experiencing issues, and this is supposed to be done automatically, this and that, and you know that this is done correctly. There are no actual configuration issues with Exchange Server. However, the main thing and the main reason why you cannot connect to an Exchange Server if it's automatically set up for you and you don't actually do it manually is the fact that you may not be connected to the same network or domain, right? So let's say you're working from home and you're given a laptop, and then you use this laptop to access your work email. Well, if you're not connected to the work network, obviously you're not going to be connected to the Exchange Server. So that's something to keep in mind. In that case, you would start your VPN connection. You would create your VPN connection. And by the way, I will, so you guys can see, learn a little bit more about VPN if you're interested in that. So you would start your VPN, and then once you connect to the VPN, then you'll be able to connect to that Exchange Server, right? Now, there are quite a few different things you can look at, which I can save for another video because I don't want to make this one too long. But there are a lot of other things you can do when it comes to dealing with Outlook. You can add shared mailboxes, many other things that are actually pretty cool when it comes to Outlook. So let me just go back here real quick and look at a couple of other options since I have this opened up. The second thing down here is basically data files. You get to it from the same place as if you open this up and you just select data files. This is where you would have. This usually has your archive files. So they're usually .pst format. So any archives that you create from within Outlook will be located here. I've made an Outlook archive video, and I will also link that at the end of this video if you're interested for when it comes to archives, so you can have a look at that. Now, if you are experiencing just weird issues with your Outlook, and what I mean by that is, let me go ahead and open up Outlook. This is another troubleshooting thing you can look at. Let's say a user reports some random issues, they don't receive emails, there are issues with it, and you suspect that at some point there is an issue with their configuration, and you simply can't figure out what is it. It's like, everything's set up correctly, the Exchange Server set up correctly, they're connected, they're on the same network, but still they're having these weird issues. It may not even be a connection issue, but it's something that you really cannot explain. However, sometimes the best thing to do is to create a new email profile. If you look at the third bottom option here, it says profiles, right? If you click on show profiles, you will see the current profile that we are using for this account. And this one by default is called Outlook. So we know that since it's selected by default like this, always use this profile, we know that currently we are using that profile for this account. You can create multiple ones, and don't ever delete this one just in case. However, you can create a new one. So if you click add new, you can call it new profile or whatever you want, and then you can configure their profile again. This will create a brand new one. If you go to user's local profile, so if you go to root C, users, and I'm currently logged in under this username. So if you want to look at the Outlook data for this profile, you would go to app data, right? So it's users, user profile name, app data, and then you would look at local. And then from within local, you would go to Microsoft and then Outlook, right? And here's our profile, right? Here's our profile. We know that this is it, right? We looked at it so many times. You see? That's our profile for this. And this is local cached data for our inbox from the Exchange server. So every time you connect to the Exchange server, it downloads local cached version of the inbox, so that for faster access. You don't have to download it every time. And its extension is always going to be OST, right? Now you can also reset this by itself. So you close Outlook and you just right click delete. Now always rename it, just don't delete it. But you can rename it, and once you open up Outlook once more, here, let's do that actually. It will create a brand new one, and that's one way to at least flush the cached version of the inbox if you suspect some issues. So I'm just going to call it old, and I'm going to open up Outlook again, right? And let me go back here. You can see how it created a brand new one for this. And once you do that, it will have to re-download everything that's in your inbox. So if you have a huge inbox, it may take a long time to actually populate anything. So let's say you do this, and you're doing it to troubleshoot Outlook, and the user is like, well, it's not coming back. I don't see anything. It's still broke. You broke it. No. If you look down here, you can see that it's downloading. A little like a bar here, and you would see it downloading right down here, right? So that's how you reset just the OST file. However, that doesn't reset the whole profile. So if you want to reset the whole profile, again, you would do it as so. You create a new one, new profile, all right? And I'm just going to create one real quick, just a kind of a fake one, if you will, right? Just going to create a fake one here. This should create a new profile for us. Now, whatever I just did here, you can ignore. I'm just creating another profile so you can see how we can have another profile set up. It's struggling here because it's trying to connect to something that doesn't exist, right? Okay. Finish. And now we have another profile. So if you want to use this new profile, you have to go here and select new profile, right? Because you don't want to confuse the user, like, what's going on? If you do this, and it says prompt for a profile, this is what would happen, right? You open up Outlook, and it says, well, which one do you want to use? And the user is like, well, I don't know. And they end up picking up the old one. And then it's still broken, right? We don't want that. So what we do is always use this one, new profile, okay. Outlook, right? And it's trying to connect to this broken one. Anyways, that's what would happen. It would load the new profile that you created. Obviously, this was not going to work because you saw what I did. The information was totally wrong just for the sake of creating a new profile. But again, if I go back to my old one, right? Let's see here, control panel, mail. Let's say you messed up that one. You want to go back to the old one. Select the old one. Boom. Okay. Now Outlook, and there you go. We're back to the old one, right? So there's one more thing that you can look at. For example, if you look at the inbox here, right? if you look at data property and look at the folder size, you can see the actual size of the folder. So let's say you know that the limit of the Exchange server for the inbox is, I don't know, let's say 4 megabytes, right? So you would basically have a total size in here. So if you know the limit is 4 megabytes, which would show as 4,000 kilobytes, then if it's more than that, then you know user may have an issue when it comes to the limit of how big of their inbox is. Now, usually user would just report issues with sending and receiving email. They would, for example, be able to send but not receive email. First thing you need to look at is the size of their inbox. See if it's full or not. If it's full, then they need to make space. They can do that by creating new archives or, deleting some old emails. A lot of times they have stuff, they deleted stuff, but it's actually still in their deleted items folder, for example. You know what I mean? So we have to flush all that until we make enough space for the Exchange server have the ability to send and receive email. So if you have more than, in our case, we used 4,000 kilobytes, then if a user has 5,000, total size 5,000, then we won't be able to send nor receive. It varies. It's kind of a weird thing, but that's one of the things we have to look at. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. At the end of the video, I will have the link, or I guess the link to my other videos for the archives, and I will post it at the end of this video. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a comment, and share it with your friends. Bye-bye.
Welcome, my friends. My name is Irvin, also known as Cobuman. In today's video, we're going to talk about top 20 help desk issues with solutions. So what this is going to be is a presentation video in which problem is presented or an issue is presented, and then solution will be provided with some kind of visual cues or visual graphic. At times, I will also pause the video and expand on the solutions in order to provide more beneficial knowledge and education for those people who are into help desk. So if you like this type of stuff, please click the like button. It really helps push this video further, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I know you will enjoy this video. All right, let's take a look. Number 1, mouse is not working or it has sticky keys. Cause, dirty mouse or spilled drinks. Solution, replace the mouse. So this type of thing can happen fairly often. I mean, people are using their computers, people will be eating at their desk, and people will be drinking at their desk. This type of stuff happens, and of course you can just simply have an old mouse that just needs to be replaced. Very simple one. Let's move on. Number 2, keyboard is not working or it has sticky keys. Cause, dirty keyboard or spilled drinks. Solution, replace the keyboard. So just like with the mouse, the best thing to do here is just simply replace the keyboard. Have time to necessarily try to clean and repair keyboards or mice, so the best thing to do is just to replace them and move on, since they are really cheap and company can afford them usually. Number 3, monitor is not working. Cause, power button not pressed, loose power cable, loose video signal cable, wrong configuration display settings, or bad monitor. Solution, press the power button, check the cables, adjust display settings, or replace the monitor. So yeah, in this case, monitor simply needs to be turned on. Either that or cables are loose. Those are very likely things that actually do happen in help desk. And of course, you can have a bad monitor. One of the indicators for that is that monitor is acting weird in the sense that the colors are off, there are lines going through, or simply just shutting off by itself. Those are all indicators of monitor going bad, and the best thing to do here is replace. Of course, make sure you do all
make sure you check all the things on the computer first before you do, and before you do replace the monitor, because yes, a lot of times you can find display settings that are simply off. And an example of that is font changes, resolution changes, where things look bloated and larger than usual, but yet the picture kind of things look different. So those are the things you need to check when it comes to settings in order to resolve this issue if it's not a bad monitor. All right, let's move on.
Number 4, no internet connection. Cause, cable disconnected, modem turned off, router turned off, bad cable, or no signal from provider. Solution, connect the cable, turn on modem, turn on router, replace cable, or contact internet service provider.
So as something that would happen a lot of times to a home user or somebody working from home, their internet may go out. Sometimes users would call the internet the intranet as well, meaning that they would say my internet is out, but it's actually their intranet that is broken, or their network connection at the office. So they can be a little bit of confusion there when it comes to user reporting this issue, but either way, make sure you check all the settings and kind of go through the PC if possible. But the chances are, if you're not physically there to check the connection, this may be a little bit difficult to troubleshoot because you can't use any remote desk. Indeed, there is no internet connection. But do your best, guide the user through all the things. Make sure the cables are checked, make sure they're plugged in, make sure the router is plugged in up to a point. But if it's a home user, you may have to tell them to call their internet service provider to get their internet back online.
Please take a moment to like this video at this time. Doing this not only helps me, but others find this very useful video. Thank you very much. Number 5. A specific website is not working. Cause, website is down, website link has changed, website link is wrong or typoed. Solution, contact the webmaster, check the website link, check for typos in the link.
So this ties in from our previous issue where internet is not working. And yes, you can check that as well, but most of the time this issue is related to a wrong link or the website is simply down. This is something we have to double check with the user, ask them if the internet link is correct or if they can access other websites. That would be another indicator of whether it's just simply internet or network connection is down. So go through these steps with the user and help them as much as you can when it comes to this fairly simple issue.
Number 6. File missing on a computer. Cause, user deleted data, user forgot to save data, program removed, system crash, OS reinstalled, or bad broken storage. Solution, check recycle bin, check backup storage if any, restore folder files function, Windows restore point. Latter causes may have no solution, for example, bad broken storage, OS install, or not saving files.
So there are actually many things that can cause this, starting from users simply deleting the file to corrupted local profile. And this is what I mean by user data is missing. This can happen sometimes where something goes wrong and then suddenly their local profile is damaged or corrupt and they've lost all kinds of things. Of course, there are other places you can look for backups, whether they have like a backup drive of some sort or anything that might be automated that you can look for a copy of it. But sometimes these files can be simply found in the root of C or anywhere else. So this is one of those things you would have to kind of talk to the user and ask them exactly where they kept this type of stuff. A lot of times you can restore them if there is system restore activated on the computer, or if it's a shared, for example, drive somewhere on the network that you can simply restore files on. These are some of the things you have to work with customer on or user on and kind of ask them in detail what is it that they're missing and where from.
Number 7. Cannot receive or send emails. Cause, inbox limit size reached, Windows password change, data corruption. Solution, delete old emails, delete old calendar items with large attachments, update password for email client, clear cache for internet email clients.
So inbox limit size it was something that was common in Outlook. Server or Exchange server would limit the size of the inbox, and if you reach that limit, which back in the day used to be fairly low, people would reach that limit sometimes fairly quickly, and by that I mean maybe a couple of years. But if you work for a company for 5 years, that's going to happen. So in that case, you have to make space or simply request for the inbox to be enlarged or to be bigger. This is one of those things you can, I guess, reach out to the Exchange server support and ask them to do so. But the quick solution is to delete old files, old emails, and a lot of times calendars will have large attachments. Anything that has attachments, they will take up a lot of space and quickly add up in size. Nowadays, people are also switching over to web-based email clients, in which case emails can also be corrupted, and then in that case you would simply have to delete the cache for that browser, for example Chrome or IE. So you can just flush all of that stuff, and then suddenly email may start working. Kind of a very important thing to kind of think about, but also a very common thing that happens in help desk.
Number 8. The printer is not working. Cause: printer not installed, wrong printer, no paper or ink, bad driver or configuration. Solution: install printer, change default printer, add paper or ink, use correct driver configuration, and adjust it.
So in this case, I actually left out the one thing, is that jammed paper. That can happen sometimes too. But yeah, you can run out of ink. You can have simply just too many people trying to use the same printer. There could be like a queue, or a print spooler system, could be stuck and needs to be reset. Or a lot of times, if you have a secure print, which is companies are kind of trying to use that nowadays a lot more, is that when you try to print, something requires your personal PIN. You type in the PIN, and then you have to go to the printer to actually, receive that print by typing in your code. That's called secure print. And yeah, any of these things can be a problem, including the bad driver and whatnot, in which case you would do all these to resolve. But the main thing to think about here is that doesn't mean that there is one solution either. So we have to kind of keep all these things in mind in order to resolve these issues quickly and kind of memorize them so we can be a good help desk employee.
Number 9. Headset or headphones are not working. Cause: sound configuration not set properly. Input and output cable connections are not connected properly, or it's a bad headset. Solution: configure playback and recording device, check input-output connections on the computer, replace headset if broken.
So another very common issue is sound issues. These type of things happen a lot, especially when people are using headsets that were kind of purchased on their own, which not necessarily a bad thing. But company usually, if it's like a call center, they will provide headsets that are all the same. So that way when you just plug it in and it just works. Typically a USB. But a lot of times you come across headsets that have 2 jacks on them. For example, separate for a microphone and separate for the speaker. Those are the ones that are most commonly need to be configured. So keep that in mind. But either way, make sure that you go to into the sound control panel and check all these settings. Make sure that all the volumes are adjusted and microphone gain as well. And then, of course, test it with the user. But a lot of times, you just have to make sure that the default sound settings are set, and that should take care of it.
Number 10. Blue screen of death. Cause: bad hardware or drivers, or overclocking the CPU. Solution: check hardware, for example RAM, CPU, hard drive, GPU. Check CPU clocks and update drivers.
Most of the time, the issue here is hardware. So check all of these things. It could be as simple as a memory stick is going bad or not seated properly. It can be a bad hard drive or hard drive going out. Make sure you do a hardware test on all of these things to kind of resolve this issue. And one thing that I actually haven't mentioned is that it could be CPU or PC, I should say, overheating. So the computer itself might be dirty and dusty, which may need cleaning. But most of the time, that would just kind of crash the computer, but wouldn't necessarily give you a blue screen of death. But generally speaking, from my personal experience, blue screen of death was always from bad hardware. Some piece of hardware on the computer is going bad. 99.9% chance. All right, let's move on.
Number 11. Computer is slow. Cause: background processes, updates, or virus. Low RAM, low hard drive space, or a bad hard drive. Solution: wait for updates to finish, remove virus, add more RAM, make space on hard drive, replace hard drive.
So in a business type of environment, most of the time this issue is related to updates running in the background. Computer a lot of times is left turned off overnight, which users sometimes do that. At the end of the day, they click shut down instead of rebooting the computer and letting it stay on so you can get updates overnight. So yeah, updates are a main cause of this, but it can be an issue with the user opening up 40 different windows. We all know that, for example, if you open up Chrome and you look at the processes, you can see that for some reason there are like 5 to 10 Chromes open, but yet you have 2 different windows that you can see visually. This and can sometimes take up processing power, and of course, keep an eye out for viruses. Check all these things, but chances are in a business type of environment, it's just updates, or there are just way too many things going on, and computer maybe need more RAM or something like that, or maybe even more processing power. But for this, Task Manager and looking at the processes is the best way to figure this out.
Number 12. Computer restarts for no reason with message restarting. No reason is what user would say in PC support. Cause: Windows updates, software updates. Solution: finish updates, or you can force updates through Windows. Software updates should not restart more than once.
So exactly what I kind of mentioned earlier. Notice how all of these things are tied in, and that's done on purpose so it's easier to follow my videos. By the way, if you want a written copy of this, it is on my website. There is a link that's going to pop up right now. It's on cosmicnovo.com. But yes, updates are the main cause for random restarts. Program, a lot of times to finish installing, has to reboot the computer. And this sometimes happens in the middle of the day because update hasn't finished or didn't get a chance to update at all overnight when the computer was supposed to be turned on. But keep in mind, don't be rude to the customer or user and ask them about it. And also, sometimes computer just doesn't want to wake up. The computers will go to sleep as scheduled in order to save power and save company money from electricity. And it doesn't want to wake up. So of course it's not going to get updates. So keep in mind on that.
Number 13. Computer shut down for no reason, no message or error. Computer goes silent, no beeps. Cause: bad power supply, bad GPU, bad CPU settings. Solution: test power supply unit or replace if needed. Test GPU by removing it. Check CPU and heatsink, replace it with new thermal paste.
So of course, there's no indicator of what happens and the computer just shuts down. Boom, gone, it's dead, there's nothing, there's no error, nothing. So number one reason, power supply went out or the electricity went out. That's possible too. But there you wouldn't necessarily have a trouble ticket or be talking to somebody if the power just simply went out in their home or at the office. The computer would just turn back on afterwards. But also keep in mind, when I talk about this CPU and changing the thermal paste, this can also happen when the computer is overheating, which I haven't mentioned yet, but now you know. So yes, it could be overheating and maybe it just needs to be cleaning. But a lot of times CPU just not seated properly or any of these things. But keep in mind, bad power supply, overheating, computer just crashes. That's it. Check those things and should be good to go.
Number 14. Computer is not working as reported by the user. PC support situation. Cause: many things can cause this. More information is needed. Solution: refer to previous solutions to troubleshoot.
So this is presented as an issue. because user reports it as an issue. This is why it's not computer specific. You would literally get a trouble ticket that says nothing is working. I don't know. That's what the user would say. I don't know what's going on. Nothing is working. Nothing is working. So this is why I say refer to all of the things that I mentioned, that was aforementioned or previously mentioned. Aforementioned, I'm not sure if I'm using that correctly. But anyways, refer to all the troubleshooting things we've learned so far in order to resolve their issues. So check all of those things, and of course there will be more issues that we're going to see in this video. So let's keep going.
Number 15, computer making loud fan noise. Cause, dust, overheating, or fan vibration. Solution, remove dust, replace CPU with thermal paste, check for loose fans, vibration inside the PC.
So you guys probably seen this if you have or heard of a loud PC, just a fan is going crazy. Like as if you turn on the space heater and then it's really, really loud. That's typical of overheating. Overheating, if it happens all the time. But it can happen when computer is on the full load. So for example, whenever I'm editing this video and I tell it to encode the video, it uses 100% of my CPU, and then suddenly I can hear my fans kick on. That's normal. But if it's happening all the time, then there's something wrong with the computer itself. I mean, chances are maybe there is a virus in the background just kind of using all the processing power. Who knows? But check all these things, but chances are it's just overheating. I've also seen an issue where it's just a bad, weird motherboard issue, hardware related. So it's kind of hard to explain because it's not something that happens a lot. But basically what would happen is the computer would be turned on. It looks like it's turned on, but there's nothing going on except the power supply is going full blast. It's really loud, and that's a sign of a bad motherboard. It's pretty rare. This is why I haven't mentioned it, but just kind of keep an eye on that. It's kind of fun to know about.
Number 16, Wi-Fi is slow. Cause, distance from Wi-Fi, overcrowded use, bandwidth limit, signal interference with other devices. Solution, move closer to source of Wi-Fi, too many people using Wi-Fi, change bandwidth limit, change Wi-Fi signal channel.
So yeah, of course, we all know that bad Wi-Fi or slow Wi-Fi is signal related. A lot of times signal related, and especially it's obvious when you see that, it's only like 1 or 2 bars. And chances are, if you are working from home, that may not be the case, and that the issue is most likely related to some other computers, or maybe even your computer just taking up all the bandwidth. So yeah, we don't know. This is something though, one of those things we have to talk to the user about and ask him a little bit more details about it, what's going on. But before we send them off to calling their internet service provider if it's at home. If it's at Starbucks or, for example, any of those coffee shops or somewhere public, nothing we can do about that, But if it's like at home, ask them, hey, is there anybody else in the home that's using or watching Wi-Fi or watching TVs? Something that takes up a lot of bandwidth, which could be slowing them down. Yes, of course, you can look at the task processes and see if there's anything in the background process, and look at the network activity through the task manager and see what's going on there. You can look at all these things and see if it's their computer or it's just simply slow. I mean, you can do a bandwidth test and see what kind of speed they're getting, and then look at the task manager and the networking activity, see if it's something going on their computer. Because they could also be getting updates, we don't know, because updates can sometimes take up a lot of not just processing power, but also bandwidth, especially if they're on Wi-Fi and it's limited, So check those things, and then it should help you get to the solution there.
Number 17, internet is slow. Cause, too many downloads, too many users, internet service provided data throttling, or a virus. Solution, limit downloads, limit users sharing connection, reset modem, this can help with throttling, and check for viruses.
So again, another thing that ties in with our issues with solutions, if the internet is slow, check all these things that are listed. Make sure that there is no limit cap on internet, stuff like that. But you can resolve that by changing all of these things. But it just depends on what kind of help desk you do. If you're doing help desk for a business, just that supports everybody, not just at their offices or at a home, but if it's something that you can't fix, as in like this is ISP issue, then their internet service provider should be able to look some of these things when it comes to data throttling, if that's the issue, or limiting bandwidth on the users that are on the network in order to have, internet working properly. But anyways, use all these things that I've taught you so far to resolve this one, because it can be tricky. Just be patient with the user and kind of go through all these things to make sure that you can touch on everything and do everything you can to help them out if possible.
Number 18, can't log in to PC. Cause, password has changed, account is locked. Solution, reset password, unlock account.
So if you watched a lot of my videos, you can see that I've touched on this. This is one of the main things that happens on help desk: password resets. User can't log in. So yeah, simply assist them with their password, check their account, see if they're locked. If they're locked, unlock them. If they need password change, give them a temporary password. Assist them with that, and that should solve it. There are some odd issues that can happen when it comes to login, especially if it's VPN related. For this, I have a special video for that if you want to check it out. So I have a video specific to VPN password issues, and you're more than welcome to check them out. I'll have it pop up right above my head somewhere.
Number 19, can't log in after password change. Cause, not using the new password, typo, or locked account. Solution, reset password, carefully type password after account is unlocked.
So this can happen when user tries to change their password on their own. They would get that notification, hey, your password is going to expire today. So they change it, they lock their computer. It depends how they're set up. Sometimes they go through a website or something like that. It all depends. Anyways, they end up changing their password, but they suddenly can't log in. So yeah, do the same thing. Kind of go through and look at their account, see what they did. There should be a log of it. And then if needed, unlock them, change their password, and kind of participate with them in when it comes to logging and make sure that they're doing it correctly. It's a very common type of thing that you can expand on even further when it comes to help desk.
Number 20, nothing is working. This is usually reported to PC support. Cause, unknown, need more information. Solution, contact professional PC support for assistance.
So the reason I have this here like this is because users can sometimes panic and just literally call the help desk and say nothing is working, and then of course you have to be, number one, friendly with the user and use all of the things that you've learned so far and your own personal experience to help them resolve their issue as much as possible. If they're furious, they may not have patience with you, but as long as you have patience with them, you can resolve this. And I encourage you that you try. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please share this video with your friends. If you have any questions or if you are interested in more of help desk stuff, I have lots of that type of stuff and always will be. So don't forget to subscribe and check out my other videos. I have lots of help desk stuff and I have a whole playlist with lots of videos in it. Alright. Take care and have a good one. Bye-bye. Hello my friends, my name is Irvin, also known as Cobuman. In today's video, it's all about help desk. We're going to learn how to use an example ticketing system, and I'm going to also show you 4 different examples of a phone call that you might get as a help desk employee. These phone calls will show you how to handle the calls and also how to troubleshoot the call. It's a very good video for those trying to get into help desk as a starting point in their IT career. Guys, please take a 1 second to click the like button. This way I'm not going to play ad at this point at all, but you clicking the like button really makes a difference for my video. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Alright, let's get into it. This video is designed for new people to help desk tier 1 or tier 2. What we will learn in this video is how to create a ticket and how to work a ticket in a ticketing system. Keep in mind there are many different ticketing systems out there available. and a lot of them are proprietary, meaning the company that you work for will have their own ticketing system, but lately or most recently they've all been web-based, just like this third-party ticketing system that I'm about to show you. And when it comes to navigation, working the tickets and this and that, it should be very much the same as you would do when you work for somebody else. So this is going to be very educational for people who are about to start working on a help desk or just tech support where they use a ticketing system. So let's get back to the first thing we need to do. We're going to create a ticket in this ticketing system, but we have to familiarize ourselves. Keep in mind, you are new at the company and you've never experienced this before. Chances are you don't know what to do, you don't know what to look for. Well, this is typically what it looks like. You have a system that's open like this, typically web-based, and then on the left-hand side you got few different tabs that you can select. First one is the main queue. What you're looking at here, and when I click on all open, and what shows in the middle is all tickets that are open currently. These are tickets that come through. And then next one is assigned to me, and if we click on, you can see that you haven't been assigned any tickets whatsoever. And then if we click on unassigned issues, you can also see there. However, if you go back to the all open, that means they're all there. That means that they haven't been worked yet, even if it's been assigned. So, and then of course we have incidents down here, and this is going to be based off a type of ticket. And then we got service requests, changes, and problems. So these are all different categories for these tickets that are there. Now, not to confuse you or to lose you, let's go ahead and create a ticket because this will show you what the ticketing system is about. So let's say this reporter here, which is cobuman1, he's the user that reported all three of these issues. These are all issues that he has. So let's see how he did that. So he went to a system, and he's got a probably similar system that we see here, and then he clicked on create a ticket or submit a new ticket. And the first thing that they're going to do is select an issue type, which is right here. Don't ignore this part where it says project. This is just because I'm an admin to this, so ignore this. What they're going to look at first is issue type. This is what's going to ask you. And they're going to either have a drop down here, or they're going to be able to type in the type of issue that they have. So they can just type in report an incident, and if they select that, for example, that's what's going to be selected. So whatever it is that they have, chances are there's either an article on how to fix it themselves if it's like some kind of a minor software issue, but they, in general, they will have a way to search for their problem, and once they do, they will come across their problem, they would select it. So for example, if they would just type in get help, it's going to show up, and then they can select that. At the same time, if they type in, like for example, name of the website or a program, it's going to find that as well, and then they can select that, and that way it's going to be routed to the support team for that specific application, website, system, or software. See, that it's very self-explanatory. So, and the next thing, once they figure out what the problem is and select the correct issue type here, they can type in the title of it. And it's kind of confusing here that where it says summary, but it's actually just a title. So let's go ahead and pretend that this is a test ticket, and we're just going to type in test, so that way we have so we can track it, so we can see how it shows up in the system. And then we're going to type in test again, because we're just learning how to create a ticket right here, and it's going to be very simple. If we scroll down, there will be other things you can put in there. For example, a user can attach a screenshot, and if they click here, they can just add it, browse it, this and that. Typical, they would upload a screenshot of the error if they have, and then they can select the component, and then if they're savvy enough, they'll be able to figure out, okay, well, what is the issue about, and they would select that. So let's say they some kind of actor directory issue, they can just select. That's automatic. We can leave that. This is one of those admin issues, and this is not what a user would see. And then you can also create a ticket on behalf of somebody else. So I'm going to create a ticket on behalf of cobuman1, which is the same person that reported the previous issues. That way, if if a user is not able to create a ticket for themselves, you can do it on their behalf as well. Another reason to create a ticket is to also keep track of internal things that you do, and you need a record of it. So, doing tickets just as an internal part of what you do is a good way to just have a record of some kind of change that you've done on a computer, PC, or whatever. And then next thing we have is priority. Well, actually, we do have approvers, but this is related to whether somebody needs to be approved, for example, to have an access to a specific server, whether they're approved to have email or instant messenger, or even if they're approved to get new software, or if they're approved to get new hardware, right? So, and then we have priority here, and priority is kind of self-explanatory. If a big website is down, chances are they're going to select the highest priority, or if it's affecting a lot of people, they can just select highest priority. But if it's nothing big, they can just select lowest priority or whatever, And then of course urgency is also kind of similar to that, which I don't know why they have it twice, but if it's a website down, it's going to be of course critical, and then it's going to impact a lot of people. Impact very important. If it's a lot of people, it's critical and it's the highest priority. It's going to be expensive, widespread. If it's just one user requesting something, it's going to be minor. So, and then pending reason, this is if you're working on a ticket and then you need a pending reason why it needs to be approved, this and that. Like for example, somebody's requesting something, that they would deal with that. Product categorization and this and that. This is usually automatically populated by the system itself. Users wouldn't typically deal with any of this. They would just put in a basics, ticket, and then you would have to figure this, if it needs to be dealt with or categorized. There is a category here, optional categorization. We can just select connectivity in case we are working with, a big system downage. And then of course there are labels, and you can create your own labels, Okay, and then we're going to click Create Ticket. Now we can see on the right side that there's a notification that came up that's typical in a ticketing system. If you're working the system, if you have it open, you would get a notification that the ticket came through. So if we refresh this, if I click on All Open, it's going to refresh it. It may take a second here, but it's going to populate with the new ticket we just submitted. It depends on how fast the cloud is or the storage. Where the ticketing system is at. It may take a moment to come up. Let me hit the refresh button here, and there it is. There's our test email, and at the same time, you and your group, including the user as well, will get an email notification that a ticket came through, and that would look something like this. Here's our 3 other tickets that are already in the system. The other one just came through as you saw. So you can see that there is a new ticket that came. So you get a desktop notification, then you get email notification. All right, now we learned how to create a ticket. That's very simple. Now let's go ahead and work a ticket. Here's a really good one we can pick. So once you're in the main queue, is what they call here, you can just pick any of the tickets and assign it to yourself if you're allowed to do so. Typically, that's what happens. You can pick up tickets, work them, or sometimes the manager assigns a ticket to you. But this time, we have the permission to assign tickets to ourselves, so we're going to head and do that. We're going to select this middle one, and then we're going to assign it to ourselves. This is going to be slightly different, depending on the type of software you use. But typically, what you want to look for is something like this, where it says assignee. I want to click on that, and then I'm going to assign it to me. I'm going to click on that, and sometimes there's a save button or this and that. This particular system doesn't, and it's just going to assign it automatically. So let's go ahead and go back to our queue, which is click on All Open here, and we can see now that it's assigned to me. And I'm going to go back to it, and then we're going to now work it. So how would you do this? There are a few ways of working a ticket. This is going to depend on preferred contact method that the user has. If we look at this ticket, it's not very detailed, right? And if we click on here, view request in portal, a lot of times it would open it up and there will be more information here, but it kind of looks the same as the other one. So we're just going to go back here. The thing is though, a lot of systems would specify what type of preferred contact method they would have. For example, I prefer to be contacted with email, or there would be their email address there or something like that. I prefer to be contacted with IM, or do I prefer to be contacted via the phone? So user would typically specify that, and there would be more stuff, detailed information about them. This system unfortunately doesn't have that information. The only thing we have is ability to reply to customer directly here. So this is what we're going to do. It says here the issue is I have two monitors, both have the same picture. So that means that it's a configuration issue, and we can help them deal with that. If they are outside of your company, let's say you're doing tech support, for somebody else in a different state, you're not on site, you're not there to help them, you can simply say, if you've never worked with this person before, you can say, hello, my name is Irvin, with tech support at STL Missouri. So you want to tell them, hey, my name is Irvin, I'm with tech support, or whatever your name may be, and I am at this location, so that way they know that you are that person. It's an introduction, it's a simple introduction, and then you can say, I have your ticket about a monitor. Right? And it's simple. You tell them who you are, where you at, and that you have their ticket about a monitor. This is what you typically do if you're contacting them first time through email, or through, like, for example, instant messenger, or even if you call them. This is something you have to let them know who you are and why you're calling them, why you're contacting them. Since this is a message through the system, through the ticketing system, you don't necessarily have to introduce yourself, because they know that the system that they submitted a ticket through, somebody is reaching out to them because of that, right? And then, if you can help them, I mean, this is a remote type of thing. If you can take control of their PC and resolve this issue for them, that would be ideal. But if you don't, well, I mean, what can you do? Well, you can just at least suggest, have you tried, expanding your desktop onto second monitor. That's usually the problem when it comes to this, right? And this is one of those things that you can ask the customer. If you can take control of their computer, that would be ideal. However, if you happen to be on site, that would be even better. So you can say, may I stop by to take a look? When would be good for you? So that way you can go there directly and just resolve the issue. And then now we're going to just click save. This should send an email to the customer, and that should reach out to the customer in some way, whether it's they having to have the system up and they get a notification, or they would get an email from the system saying, hey, this tech guy, cobuman, is trying to reach out to you. This guy named Irvin, actually, is trying to reach out to you, or both. Usually it would be both. So they would get a communication from you. So the next thing you would do is add an internal note. Means that's a note for you and the people that work for you, or not the work for you or with you. If they want to know what's going on with that ticket, they can look up your ticket and see that you have reached out to user and awaiting feedback. Right? So you can be more detailed about this. This is just a basic navigation and notage of a ticket. So what we have done here is reached out to the customer. We have created an internal note so that everybody can see that what you've worked on and what kind of work you've done when it comes to this ticket. So let's say your manager is like, hey, what's going on with this ticket? They can look it up and see what you've done, And if it's something you can resolve on site, you can say configured dual monitor. And then and click Save. And now, since you've resolved the issue, you have configured the dual monitor. At this point, it's resolved. Now we can close the ticket, right? We can go ahead and close it. And in this case, we have to go over here on the right-hand side where it says waiting for support. If we click on that, it gives you a bunch of different options for the status of the ticket. You know, you can see that whether you escalated a ticket, you know, waiting for support, canceled, or completed. We're going to set it to completed. Sometimes it would say resolved or this and that. And now the ticket is completed and closed. And by the way, notice this little eyeball here. That's a watch option. That means how many people are actually viewing and watching this ticket. We can see that both of these guys are watching this ticket. So that means how many people are viewing it and working on it, which is kind of useful actually. So that way you can be like, hey, you know, ping them or, you know, send them a message. Hey, are you working on this too? You know, this and that. And all right, let's move on to another ticket that we can look at. And then if we click on all open tickets here, it's going to bring us back to the queue. We can see now that the other ticket is gone. It's simply gone. It's closed and you'll no longer see it in the queue. But we do have other tickets we can work on, so let's do one more, which is a bit different, and this is a website down ticket. So this is kind of important. Our website is down. We can't access our main website, and then we can see that the urgency is critical. So of course we're going to have to prioritize these critical tickets. Now let me see, does this system actually say in the queue anywhere that it's a critical? It doesn't. So the only indicator you have here is on the left-hand side. It's kind of these icons. And, you know, this is kind of unfortunate that I couldn't show you that you know, there might be some other indicator that it's a critical issue. All you got to do is, the only thing you can do is go by whatever the summary is or whatever the title of the ticket is. So you kind of have to use your own judgment. In our case, I wouldn't have worked the first ticket first at all. I would have worked this one first. So you got to prioritize that. It's very important. But once we click on it now, we can see that it's critical. So of course we're going to contact them again. But before we do that, since this is a critical, we may want to do something else real quick. And this is going to depend on your business, whether you're the only one working there or whether you actually want other people involved. So there are options for that as well. And if you look on the right hand side here, we can add participants. If we click here and add participants, if your manager, for example, is Joe Schmo, did I spell that Joe Schmo? Let's do that. Joe Schmo, we're going to add him, and then he can watch. Or even if we have Bob, it's a boy, you know, as a co-worker, and he's working with you as well, we can add them as participants so they can follow what's going on, right? So that's pretty cool here as well. And then we can have, let's go ahead and work this ticket real quick. I'm going to reply. And again, there are no other way to contact them, so I have to contact them through the system. Otherwise, I would have called them, messaged them, and this and that. And then what I would do here in this case, and this is just an example so we can work the ticket, but there are many things that you might want to ask when it's a big issue like this. The first thing usually I would say is how many, I would say people are impacted. You don't want to say users. Usually that's something that IT would use within itself. You would want to say how many people are impacted. And then when was the last time it worked? Are you using the correct link? You know, stuff like that would help you resolve this big of an issue, right? And then later on, you know, if you do realize that it really is a big issue like this, support team for this specific website that they may be talking about may need more information. For example, host names, IP addresses, this and that. So I'm going to start with this. Typically, you would want more, but you would have to know what the website is and this and that. And this is just going to be depending on the work environment that you're at. Here we are learning how to use the system, not necessarily resolve issues because we don't have enough information, right? So we're here learning how to use a ticketing system, and that's that. And then, of course, you add an internal note right away and says contacted user with requesting more information. Now this is an internal note, and this means that only you and the people that work the system can only see it. So you can say user this time because we are talking to IT people who might read this. This is for your own note, work note,